In many toxic families, the problem is not the difficult child. It is the parent who refuses to face their own shame. Not drama, not personality clashes, not kids being rebellious. The center of the dysfunction is often a narcissistic parent who has done things that would damage their image if fully exposed. Infidelity, addiction, financial irresponsibility, emotional abandonment, cruelty behind closed doors. These behaviors create instability, but instead of taking responsibility, they protect their image at all costs. Narcissism is built on fragile self-esteem. It looks confident on the outside, but it is deeply insecure underneath. The image must stay clean. The reputation must stay intact. If they admit fault, even privately, it feels like collapse. So they look for a way to move the spotlight. This is where the black sheep role is created. The parent makes a harmful choice. They focus their problems onto one family member, usually the one who stands out, the one with different ambitions, different beliefs, different energy, the one who questions, the one who doesn't follow their path. Carl Jung spoke about projection, the way people throw their unwanted traits onto someone else. When a parent cannot face their own dishonesty, they call the targeted family member untrustworthy. When their failures are exposed, they call the targeted family member an embarrassment. When they feel out of control, they label the family member the problem. This family member becomes a mirror they attack instead of looking into. Now imagine this scenario. There is conflict between two siblings, but the narcissist parent doesn't step in to resolve the issue. Instead, they blame the siblings for not getting along. A good parent would step in and try to understand the source of the conflict, then put rules in place to hold people accountable. The narcissist parent doesn't do this because they benefit when there is conflict in the family. This gives them an excuse to abandon the family whenever they wish. Conflict becomes a shield for them. Unresolved tension keeps siblings divided. Resentment builds, bonds weaken. There are no strong alliances, and without alliances, no one can challenge the head of the family. Division protects power. The black sheep plays a specific role in this structure. There is usually only one at a time, one main target, one person who receives the worst criticism. This is not random. If there were two clear scapegoats, they could compare experiences, they could validate each other, they could form an alliance. That would threaten the hierarchy. So the role stays isolated. The hierarchy becomes clear. At the top is the narcissistic parent. Beneath them are siblings competing for approval. At the bottom is the black sheep, carrying the blame. This structure does two things. It reassures the other family members that they are not being mistreated as badly, and it keeps everyone focused on earning favor instead of questioning the system. While this is happening internally, there is also an external story. Outside the family, the narcissistic parent can say, "My family is difficult. My child is troubled. I'm under so much pressure." They present themselves as the victim of a chaotic household. But the chaos began with their unaccountable behavior. Carl Jung also spoke about the shadow, the parts of ourselves we refuse to accept. In these families, the black sheep becomes the living shadow of the parent. All the shame, insecurity, and moral failure the parent cannot integrate gets placed onto one family member. This family member becomes the container for what the parent rejects in themselves. This has long-term consequences. The black sheep grows up believing they are fundamentally flawed. They overwork to prove worth, or they shrink to avoid attention. They struggle with chronic self-doubt. They hesitate in relationships. They burn out, chasing approval that was never meant to be given. Opportunities are missed because the internal voice says, "You are the problem." The damage shapes careers, friendships, relationships, and self-perception. But once the mechanism is understood, the story shifts again. The black sheep was not chosen because they were defective. They were chosen because they were different enough to isolate and strong enough to carry the projection. Autonomy made them a threat. Awareness made them inconvenient. Their independence exposed cracks in the image. Rebuilding starts with naming the real source. The toxicity began with a parent who could not tolerate shame. The scapegoat role was a defense strategy to protect their ego. That truth alone can release years of misplaced guilt. The next step is internal repair. Stop trying to win approval inside a broken hierarchy. Approval was the currency that kept the system alive. Redirect energy towards self-trust. Small, consistent actions. Boundaries without explanation. Refusing to join sibling rivalries. Stepping out of arguments that are designed to distract. Stability is rebuilt quietly. Grief will surface. Grief for the parent who never led with integrity. Grief for siblings who chose safety over solidarity. Grief for time lost trying to fix an accusation that was never accurate. That grief is not weakness. It is part of integrating reality. The black sheep role was engineered to protect a fragile ego at the top. It was never proof of personal failure. It was proof that someone in the system could not face themselves. The damage is real. It shaped habits, confidence, and direction, but it is not permanent. The hierarchy can be exited. The projection can be returned to its source. Identity can be rebuilt through steady self-leadership. And as you continue this healing and rediscovery process, forgiveness becomes the next layer. It sounds impossible, but there is a secret nobody talks about, which will only make sense to those that went through this negative experience. There is a linked video in the description that goes deeper into this secret process and how it fits into this journey. Watch that video if you wish to learn more.